Facebook family and friends. What's happening, y'all? What is going on? Bam, bam. Don't mind the hair. This is who I am, who I was, this is who I will be. It is just the real me, y'all. Boop, boop. Trying to get things organized here as we go along. Get this down like a clown. How is everybody doing this morning? Um, boom, boom. There we go. There we go. Getting it in. So we were not here last week. Sammy had a personal situation, all positive and good, nothing wrong. Um, so we weren't here. I'm not sure where he is right now. Waiting on him to answer. He's normally on before me. Like he's normally at me in the morning time. Bam, bam, bam. Get these sent out here. Sending out these invites. Bang, everybody. If you're interested on coming in, send me a message. Uh, Amy May. Good morning, Amy. Why am I not getting comments on my feed? Give me one moment. I am having some technical issues, you guys. So what's going on? How was everybody's vacation? Uh, I'll start off by saying I had a wonderful 4th of July. We did not do a massive uh, 4th party like we normally do. It was just a handful of people here at my house. We hung out, uh, barbecued a little bit, mostly family, and then we went to my mama's house for the fireworks that night, which was pretty cool. We had a good time, enjoyed ourselves. Just round up to do. All right, you guys. Boom. I am wondering what is going on the side here. My my feed is lagging back really bad. Morning, Amy. Morning, Tony. Hope you guys are having a great day. Yeah, I should have those comments over here, but I'm not getting their comments in here, which is okay. I can have to. Is it really, Kirk? Yeah. Well, I'm using Streamyard, which is the well, I'm getting blown up here. Bam, bam. All right, you guys. So let's talk about our weekend. What everybody do? Sorry about this. I just got it's a friend of mine. It's about her kid. Bam, bam. Teenagers, man. So and now you're paused. Still feeling the pain from a birthday this past Tuesday and turning 52. Yeah, I feel you, man. Uh, so I had surgery about a month ago. I'm getting ready for work. I'd bring my curling iron over to your house to do some something with hey, all right, you guys, hold on. So, for those of you who didn't know, because you've only known me with short hair, this is my natural, normal hair. It's not a perm. Didn't do anything with it. I brushed it out, and this is what it is, man. And no matter what I do, unless I use a ton of gel or hairspray, it doesn't get any better, you guys. My kids hate it, but this is part of growing it back out. And so I have been embracing the inner Roberto Ross. I am who I am. Oh, I see we got Sammy in the back. He just sent me a message. Pinche, I'm here. I see you. All right, let's bring in Sammy. He's in the waiting room. I see you put a comment down too. Good morning, my brother. What's happening?
What's up, fool?
Why you wearing a hat, bro?
You already know. I don't want to look like that on you.
Hey, just so you know, his hair looks as bad, if not worse than my. Oh, you did yours up though. You put what you put in it? Manteca.
Manteca. Whale fat. There's some whale fat.
Man, hey,
Dude, this shit is rough. I hate
yeah,
it. This is like the worst.
yeah. So that you guys know and understand, um, I'm growing my hair out as part of a rededication. Um, I wanted to honor my son. My son was really interested in coming in and learning more about the ways that we follow. It was important to him. With him gone, we're going to be doing a ceremony called an honor ceremony um, for him leaving us and moving on. And one of the things I was going to do is grow my hair out a little and make an offering, which is cutting my hair to show my mourning and offering it up. But I was told instead that since he was trying to learn about these ways to rededicate myself and allow my hair to grow to honor him. So I've allowed my hair to grow back out. I haven't cut it since September, so it's going to be a year here in a few months. And it is wild, you guys. Like I forgot how hot it was. Like when I lay down, it's all on my neck, and it's impossible to tame. So
It lets your natural mantecas flow.
right. What the? So how you doing this morning, man? How was last weekend? I'm sorry we couldn't make it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's okay, bro. You got to put yourself first, man, when it comes to your health. Um, Weekend was good, full of family and friends, man. We had a ton of fun. The 3 hour float took 5.5 hours, so we were all like in the desert, kind of lost feeling.
Right.
That's a long time to be sitting on an inner tube in a float
Eh,
on a
yeah,
river that's barely moving.
I wouldn't even have been able to get on there.
It was so good though, and it got scary for a little bit because it started to thunderstorm a little bit for like all of 5 seconds, but it felt like, oh, this is bad. We screwed up,
Yeah.
but we survived. It was great, man. It was just a lot of people celebrating, you know, my marriage and my relationship, and I mean, there was absolutely no drama. All the people that came, man, were just meaningful in our lives, and for those, and my uncle had to cancel too. His body is breaking down pretty bad, so he couldn't come. Um, but I didn't feel alone. I knew that everyone was with me in spirit who couldn't be here, and it was great, man. It was just an awesome time to just connect with people, and I made a big effort to just deepen relationships with people while they were here, and spent a lot of time. So there was 2 weeks of maybe 3 weeks of mad prepping, around the outside and in the house,
Yeah.
and then hosting because some folks stayed a little longer, so we hosted for a few days, and I and I don't think I've had a moment to rest really, but now we have some predators killing our chickens, and so I've been live trapping, out here, and it's just last 3 days I've gone to bed around 4 in the morning because I'm just out there trying to protect those chickens right now.
Yeah.
That's something's really aggressive trying to come after them. But it's the life, man. We're doing okay. How's your shoulder doing?
Um, it was so it's a weird situation with my shoulder, right? I haven't taken I took a half of one of my painkillers yesterday for the first time in like 5 days. Last week, uh, I found myself wanting to take a whole one just to go to sleep. I wasn't in any kind of extra pain, but I couldn't fall asleep, and I was like, oh, I should just take. And then I decided when I thought that I woke up Lizzie and I was like, hey, listen, uh, I'm not going to take my painkillers anymore because all I wanted was to go to sleep.
Speaking to me,
Right. And she laughed and she hid them. And yesterday it hurt so bad. I was supposed to go to lodge up in Oshkosh with my brother Hule and Bobby, and I couldn't make the ride. Like, it's only a 2-hour ride, but I couldn't make the ride, and so I called them and told them I loved them. And Lizzie gave me a half of one. The pain is more from the PT than it is from the surgery, right? So now they're moving my arm all the way up to here and doing these movements with it, and then I got exercises I got to do at home, and then I bumped into it when I was walking in the hallway, and I might have overdid it the day before. I had a job that needed to get done, and I didn't have any choice, and so I called a buddy, and him and I finished off a construction job I was doing.
well, see, and that's exactly your problem, because if I remember correctly, that's how you hurt your arm, was pushing it.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
you can't look. How you going to keep doing the same things that have you in this position right now? You just can't. You can't.
Yeah, no doubt. No
and
doubt.
that's the problem with our mentality, is that we think we just gotta do this stuff. And me and Julie were just talking about that, because she helped me do something that I did by myself the first time, and it was tough with two people. And she's like, it used to be funny when you would do this shit. She's like, but now it's at a point where you're injuring yourself every day, and she's getting pissed off, right? Like, we've got to break this mentality that, oh, I just got to push through this. Pushing through this is why you're in that sling right now.
Yeah, but at the same time, I had a responsibility to the person I promised to have it done and who paid me to have it done. And then we lost some crew members that I needed to help with, and we got pushed back.
That doesn't
got messed up.
That doesn't add up. That doesn't.
I couldn't default on them. I couldn't default on them. Like,
No.
what am I supposed to do? Just not finish the job?
No, you see, now you're talking like somebody who was on the show not too long ago, who kept finding something wrong with good advice instead of realizing there are other options that maybe they haven't considered.
I considered everything that I could possibly consider to get it done. I tried to hire people. I didn't have the money. Like, if I didn't have the money, I don't have the money. It's got to get done. I got someone who was willing to help. What other possibility? Teach me.
I don't know.
There was none.
Your mindset is fucked up around this, and it's what I'm hearing is pride. I'm not hearing common sense.
No, I had a responsibility to finish the job I was paid to do.
Yes, you did. That's true. Yeah. That is true. However, that has a lot more to do with your lifestyle than your broken or your injured or healing shoulder right now, right? So that is a repercussion of you having to live with the natural consequences of poor decision making, right? And you knew this surgery was coming up, and you still took a job right up until, so you're not addressing what led up to this. That has to be addressed, because that's your mindset, and that's my mindset. We share that mindset. Except I'm probably more willing to make adjustments at where I'm at, and you'll get there, but you can't say, yeah, but that's not okay. I understand. I get that you have responsibilities, but what are you going to do if you re-injure that shoulder? What are you going to do? What's Lizzie going to do? What's the impact on your life? Right. And so you have to learn I think what you should be talking on this show about when it comes to that is, how should you be prioritizing your health with your responsibilities? Because what you're saying is, my responsibilities come first regardless of my health. And at your age and at your condition, that could have dire consequences.
Absolutely. So let me give you the full information about the
No, don't
situation.
need it unless you're addressing your mindset.
When I took the job, I had more than enough time to get it done. We lost the two guys that I used, right? I had budgeted my time so that I would be done the week before my surgery, right? I had two guys that were able to do the work with my direction. We went in, we started, lost both those guys. It's not their fault, right? Like they didn't do anything in their lives that screwed them out of it, and I didn't do anything to lose them. We just lost them, right? They ended up with other responsibilities that came higher priority than working for me, right? So they had to go. I got another guy to come in to help. Was incapable of doing what I needed him to do, even with my direction, right? Physically incapable.
We're on the wrong subject, bro.
What subject is there?
Your mindset around pushing your body post surgery and risking potential injury. I get responsibilities. I raise a whole family myself, if you don't remember. We're talking about when do you prioritize your health first? Because right now you're in this situation because you don't prioritize your health ever. Ever.
I don't know what other options I would have had besides to get it done or default. Right? Those are my two options. Don't do it at all. And fuck the guy, right, who paid me and who depended on me and who needed my help, right? Or find somebody to help me and get it done. So I found someone to help me and I got it done. Because I'm not going to fuck him. I can't pay him his money back. I already spent that money on our light and gas bill and on our mortgage and on our, fuel bill and on the kids and on food, right? So the money's gone. There is no money, right? So it's either default on him and not pay him back and fuck him 100%, right? Because now he can't meet his deadline, right? We can't get it done, or B, grab the buddy who was willing to help me and get it done, right? And then I had Jessica, my sister, came and helped as well. Like, so it wasn't just me and Tone; it was me, her, and Tony. I don't know what other options I have. They're the two options, right? So help me explore what other options there are. Like there's get it done.
I'm not here to problem solve the job. I'm here to problem solve your mentality where you run your body into the ground at every cost and at everyone's expense, Monte. You're reckless with your body. That is how you have injured yourself repeatedly and throughout the last decade of your life. It's how you need you didn't need surgery. You caused the need for surgery because of this mentality. I remember when you hurt your shoulder trying to lift like an 800-pound rock.
No. This shoulder, that was my other shoulder, and that was 8 years ago. This shoulder.
Perfect example. Perfect. Now you're starting to talk about what needs to be talked about.
So this shoulder, I opened the hood of a semi that I was replacing windshield wipers on, and the hood broke and ripped my arm out of socket. There wasn't anything extravagant. I was grabbing it, pulling the hood open. The hood broke, the latches broke, and it ripped my arm right out of socket. And nothing I could have done.
And why am I not surprised that happened to you? Because it fits the way you live.
I don't know how I could have stopped that.
Listen, you are a 7-foot giant, strong male who thinks they're still in their prime and can do these things because like the mentality is, in my opinion, is like any other male's mentality, where you are willing to push your body to the limits to do these things. And I'm saying, look, I get that you were in a dilemma, but how do we address the mindset that gets you to push your body to such extremes, even in the middle of healing from a surgery, from an injury, right? I don't know. I'm not here to, just like we weren't with the other caller, we're not here to problem solve your exact situation. We're here to address a mindset, bro. And in my opinion, you push your body beyond limits that it can sustain routinely. You push your body on sleep. You push your body on the level of exertion. Your nutrition sucks most of the time, right? The things you like, when we talk about recovery, all of those things have to be on the table. I have to adjust. My doctor is telling me to stop working out so hard. I'm still living with that. I'm still dealing with that mindset of, yeah, but we have to make adjustments regardless. Because here's the thing, Monte. Here's the thing.
I'm listening.
If you die tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to manifest this at all, but if you die tomorrow, if you die tomorrow, your problems are over, but the problems of your family are just beginning. And right now, I can't think of a job that is worth that. I can't think of a situation where you're going to feel like, it was worth the risk. I think you have to reprioritize the way you consider pushing yourself, because at your age, Monte, and in your condition, and it's only going to get worse from here, right? And mine too. I have to think about this too. I'm still strong, and I'm stronger than most men I'll ever meet in my life, but I still have to make adjustments because I have to think about all the responsibilities I have. I think it's tunnel vision when you think about the job the way you think about it. And I think you'll get rewarded by some folks who say, yeah, Monte, you're super responsible. You're dedicated to your customer. Great. But guess what? When you die, that customer ain't going to be there for your family. If you become permanently maimed or disfigured or injured, where's that customer's going to pay you what he owes you, if anything? And then what? You have to rethink, in my opinion, what's most important. Long-term planning, long-term viability and sustainability. Your word is one thing. I get that. But you're not in prison where you live and die by your word anymore, right? That's too extreme. I get that you want to keep your word, but that word was given in a different circumstance and under a different condition, and you're in a different condition and position than you were. Not saying that you should have backed down on it, but I don't know if you've exhausted all your options. I know you think you have, and I'm going to tell you, you probably haven't. You probably didn't. If I was your business partner, I probably would have had some ideas about what you could have done differently, but I'm not when it comes to that stuff. You're only limited by the limitations of your imagination around this. And I don't know what you tried and what you didn't try and what options are, but what I'm talking about is your health, your well-being, your future with your family.
I definitely appreciate that. And I understand what you're saying, right? Like, I get it. But right now, I don't have the. We'll just leave it at I get it, right? I get what you're saying. I definitely understand.
Look at the comments. Oh, yeah. Like they're telling a story to you that you've got to. These are people that know you.
Yeah, absolutely, and I love them for their care and their concern. But none of them have to support my family. Like, none of them have to.
God, Monte, you're so
pay my bills. No, I get what they're saying, and I understand. I respect that, right? But when it comes down to it, bro, like, I'm the one responsible for paying the bills here, right? Like, nobody pays.
I wonder if Lizzie agrees with your mentality.
No, of course not. She'd rather live in a fucking camper.
So let me put this into perspective.
Lizzie's willing to live. Lizzie's willing to live out of a bus or a camper.
Let me put this into perspective.
For me not hurt myself.
I probably know you better than most, right?
Absolutely.
You're not willing to listen to me. You married the love of your life. You're not willing to listen to her. There are people in this chat room who I know love you and support you and give you what you need as far as family and social connection, right? You're not willing to listen to them. Here's one of the comments I agree with. You will probably have to get hit by a bus before you get it. Because right now you're so shut down on this, and this is the mindset that I'm talking about, bro. You won't even listen. You won't honestly listen. You keep saying, yeah, but, right? Who in your life needs to talk to you that hasn't talked to you about how you push yourself before you decide to listen? Or is it that no one can say anything to you because you've already got it figured out? Your mindset feels like it's locked on the only way and the right way, the best way. Therefore, you don't need to hear other perspectives.
I disagree with that, and I think you're giving me some very confining parameters there, right? I think you're no. Listen
I
to what I'm
get it.
saying.
I'm
I,
listening.
I think you're using your argument right now, like when we're talking, right, to confine me to two choices that aren't the only two choices in the argument, right? You're pushing me in a box. I have to support my family. I have to have a place for my children to sleep. I have to have food for them to eat. I have no other options at this moment. And we are exploring other options. You and I are building something, it's on pause right now, but we're pushing to make something so that I don't have to physically work for the rest of my life, right? Like and you're not the only one I'm dealing with on that. Like I'm pushing options here to start possibly a place where I can sit down in an office and work for the rest of my life if we can get approval. Like we got grants to write. I'm attempting to do everything I can. Didn't expect to get hurt. And you're right. I've always physically pushed myself. I pushed myself because it's the only way I knew how to support myself at the time. I'm building other options. What happened was what always happens, right? Things out of my control, right? Changed my ability to get it done in the time I needed to get it done. I got my back against the wall and I made the choice to do what I felt was necessary to get it done. I explored other physical options. I explored other people helping me. I didn't have much of a choice but to get that job done. I could have defaulted, and the guy wouldn't have hated me, wouldn't have stopped being my friend, wouldn't have stopped helping out. Right? He would have continued to use our company for other stuff. Uh, uh, the owner of the building and I are good friends. Like, we're friends. Um, I wasn't willing, and I'm not willing to emotionally, I'm not willing to not complete what I did. I took another job recently that ended up costing me $1,500, right? Helping out somebody I care about. I might get that back. I might not get that back. It'll depend on what I make. But I gave my word to get a job done, and it helps pay my bills. I don't know what else to do. Like the mindset is what? My mindset right now is I don't want to live in a van down by the river with my 3 fucking kids and my wife, right? And my 4 cats and my 180 fish. I don't want to have to go to a homeless shelter. I don't want to live without electricity. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get what you're telling me and I understand what you're telling me. And obviously they do too, because everybody sitting out there has seen me physically work myself to death, right? But I have no other legal options to make money at the moment. And I have to pay my bills, right? We're talking about, and this is a common theme here, right? We're talking about, well, why don't they just pull themselves up by their bootstraps and get a better job, right? When we talk about people who are in poverty, well, why aren't they going back to school and getting a better education? Why aren't they applying for better jobs? Sometimes you just got to do whatever it is you got to do to not go back to prison, right? This is the same thought process. This is the same situation. I don't have the means. I don't have the financial backing. I don't have the savings, right? I came out here 20 years behind. I haven't been able to build up a savings. And once we did, because Lizzie and I did have a substantial amount of savings at one point, my kid died and we spent it all on that, right? And then went into debt on top of it. So then now we're climbing ourselves out. So right now, I don't have any savings built up. I don't have any uh, uh, pillow to rely on. I don't have, like, I just got to get it done, right? And part of that is me hurting myself sometimes, like pushing it to the point where I can't do it because I don't have any other means at the moment besides the means that I can't take, right? That, like, I can go back to doing what I did. I don't have to live paycheck to paycheck. I could make 30 grand a week. You know what I mean? And that's an option. That's something I think about. I'll lay down at night and think, man, I could push 2 or 3 keys a week. A week. Like simple shit that I could do. But is that the person who I am? Right?
Listen, no, this is the person you are, and this is the person you've always been. I think you're at a point now where you need to acknowledge that you're too stubborn for your own good when it comes to some things, and particularly how hard you push yourself. You know, and I remember having this discussion with you when you first got out of prison. You know, you were the jack of all trades doing all trades, you know, and you never had time to rest, right? I think what you are, maybe it's me, maybe I'm not communicating to you. I am not here to problem solve the job.
Right.
I'm here to problem solve if you want to. If this is not something you even want to be open to, you just got to say that. It's the mentality that you have around what you think it takes to be who you are and what it costs you and subsequently everyone else around you for you to be that way.
I am open to not working myself to death, right? Like
I don't hear that.
I am absolutely open. We spent the last 3 years trying to build something so that we don't have to work ourselves to death, bro. Like,
leave me out of this because we don't have the same mind around what you're talking about.
Okay.
Right now, it's how you approach life. And we all have this problem. I'm recovering from injuries right now for doing the same thing. And what I'm hearing from the people around me, I'm hearing from the other professionals, is that I got to slow down. I've got to change the way I think about things. I got to change the way I look at what it means to work out, what it means to lift weights, what it means to lift heavy. Like, and I'm resisting that as well. Like, I don't want to. It's like, it fucks with me to think that I have to change what I've worked so hard to become in this way, right? But what I'm hearing from everyone is that it could cost me like my health and my life. My health and my life. If I don't have health, if I don't have life, what good am I to anyone? I become a burden. I become a burden at that point. Because now I can't take care of myself or I'm not around to take care of myself. You are on track to do the same thing. I think the difference is I'm thinking about what I need to do right now. And I think maybe you are not thinking about that yet because you feel, I hear you. I have the same pressure. I have wife, I have kids, I have a place I need to take care of. I also don't want to live. But I will tell you one thing I used to tell these guys when they were thinking about changing is that your kid would rather you live in a cardboard box with them than to never be around.
I agree.
Right? The mentality you have, Monter, it unfortunately here in the United States, it is rewarded. That's how you are recognized, you know, as pulling your weight, as keeping your word. And see, you're still using, in my opinion, you're still using gang, street, and prison perspectives around your word, what your word means, right? Do you remember when you were a little kid and the first time you told a girl that you liked her and she told you that she liked you, and then you guys, you know, and this is a story, right? At some point in that liking each other, you guys say, we'll be together forever, right? When you said that, you made a promise. You made a promise based on your understanding of the world, yourself, each other, and life at that time. Then when you became like a gang member, you made promises based on what you understood about yourself, the world, and others at that time. The problem with the way you give your word today is that you think you have to give up your life or your health to keep your word in order to stay in the good graces with yourself and others, right? That is not normal. What I just heard you say when you were talking was that if you would have talked to this guy and you would have sat down and said, hey, this is my situation, I intend to finish. It sounds like this guy who you said a lot about was very supportive, and he probably would have gave you the time you needed to either find someone to finish the job or for you to be able to heal enough to finish the job, instead of taking the risk and pushing yourself. I don't think, if I knew who this guy was, we could call him up right now and I'm like, hey, if you knew that Monte could re-injure himself while trying to complete this job because he wants to keep his word to him, what would you say to him? And I'm going to bet, based on the character you just described this guy was, that this guy would have said, absolutely not. Like, we can give him some more time, or we can figure he probably would have said, we could probably figure something else out. Right? No one in their right mind is going to say, risk your life and limb, literally your limb, to do this job.
Yeah.
The only person who is thinking and following acts on this extreme is you. You're the only one who thinks that being this extreme with your body and your mind and your word is a sign of good character and conduct. And I'm telling you that, in my opinion, most people are going to see you as living recklessly while trying to maintain that status, because it can cost you everything. No one's asking you to risk everything in order to keep your word, Monte. That's not the way this world works anymore. We don't live in that world where you lived and died by some bullshit promise. We made those promises that were already, bullshit missions anyway. They weren't worth what we were risking.
Right.
But you still have this fundamental principle that you have to live and die by your word in order to maintain good character with yourself and others.
No, I don't want to give the money back, bro. I use it to pay my bills.
I understand that, but this guy probably, Monte.
You're right. He probably, you know what?
He probably said, "Fuck that! Like, take your time. We'll get to it. It'll get done. We'll figure it out." He would have been on your team. But there's an option I'm willing to bet you didn't exhaust. Like, you should have, in my opinion, you should have sat down with this guy to explore your options, because we needed to know what he was open to. And, somebody being disappointed isn't the same thing as screwing somebody over.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
Like, shit doesn't work out all the time, and it's okay, Monte. Like, bro, I feel you, man. There's certain things I'll never break my word on, that I can imagine. Finishing a contract is not one of them, because it's, right. I'm gonna do everything in my power, because me and you are both responsible men. We believe our word is important, which is a good sign, right? And around here where I live, I think it's even critical. You build a relationship of whether or not you're credible or not. But no one expects, Monte, and this is only me and you, perfection. No one expects perfection. And perfectionism on your part, perfectionism on my part, we have this tendency to deal in extremes with our logic and our approach to things.
I agree with that.
We feed on each other, and sometimes, like, we'll just, good thing we're not around each other all the time, because who knows what kind of trouble we'd get into. But
I already know.
Listen, I understand your dilemma, but if we did an intervention and we surround you with the 5 people that love you the most in this world, not including your kids, but just adults, what you're going to hear, in my opinion, I think if you look at the chats, you're going to see, like, you need to be more reasonable, right? You need to slow down, and probably most importantly, you need to take better care of yourself. Like, and that's coming from people that love you, including me. I get it. Nobody's down here. No one's saying, don't pay your fucking bills, bro. Like, no, or fuck everybody over on your nobody's saying that. But the extreme nature of the way you're looking at this is what probably you need to address, if you're open to that. And I think if you do that, you'll be around a lot longer and you'll be in better health. So here, Monte, my heart's too big. My heart's too big for my body. But you know what I said I was going to do? Ignore that logic.
Right.
What would you say to me?
You're a dumbass.
Okay, you're a dumbass. Let's move on. We got to address the way that you
I would
approach life
definitely
with.
tell you to slow it down and figure out what you're supposed to do that is going to make you be here for the longest. Um,
But
that that doesn't mean, right, that the choices that you're going to have are all the choices that I'm going to agree with. Like, I don't know what to do, and that's what I was saying is I'm lost. I don't know what to do. I
that's
have
the
to.
start, bro.
Right,
That's the first step.
right. Um, I have to, like, I got to pay my bills. That's
Yes,
one, right?
understood.
Like, yeah, I don't have any choice. And you know, I'm not like, I, I don't care
However,
where I live.
however, that logic doesn't apply to this because you already got paid and that money was already spent, and nothing you could do would get that back.
Yeah, you're right. I guess I can't. Mentally and emotionally, I have a problem with not earning what I get.
We
Right?
all do, Monte.
Yeah,
We all do, brother. You're not alone in that. We all do. You know, like you're only
it's hard
human.
for me.
It's hard for all of us, man. But what you're really talking about, and I say this with all the love in the world, is pride. That's what your pride doesn't match your current state of affairs, your current state of life. Look, you could risk all of this when you were single and a knucklehead, but you have a
Yeah.
family now, and you have people that literally depend on you. And I'm talking to myself as much as I'm talking to you, because this is the same shit I'm going through right now in my life, bro.
So what do we do?
Well, you know, one, we admit we have a problem. If you're at this table or reading this letter, chances are there's a problem.
Right.
You know, and when you look at these comments, bro, you're surrounded by people who love you,
Definitely.
and you can't just ignore all these folks, man.
Yeah, I know.
You have to acknowledge them because I'll tell you, man, there are some people who would just tell you, yeah, balls to the wall, homie. That's the way to go.
Yeah, no, surprisingly, I don't have many people like that. Like most of the people I talk to and most people who are involved in my life uh, are in agreement. Like, and I am too. Like, I would like to not have to work so hard that I hurt myself. Right. Like, I don't enjoy it. I've been home now for 5 weeks, right? Not able to do anything. And I remember at the beginning when we were talking with the surgeon, I hated the idea of 5 weeks or 6 months of the inability to do something. I have loved every fucking minute of laying on my chair and hanging out with the kids and hanging out with Lizzie, being useless, right? Like, because I can't do anything. Like, she has to get me ice for my ice machine. She has to strap me into my torture chair. Uh, I can't even help do dishes, right? Because the movement of my shoulder is too much. It hurt, makes it hurt really badly, right? And I'll try to help to do dishes, and then she'll yell, and I'll be like, "All right, I'm sorry." Um, I really enjoyed the last 6 weeks of just not doing anything, 5 weeks, whatever it is, but hanging out with the kids. Like, Tater will crawl into my chair and we'll cuddle and watch TV. And, you know, here I am watching Bluey and Five Nights at Freddy cartoons or whatever. I really love this, right? Like, and that was my biggest fear. The last time I had surgery, like, I did not enjoy the time off, right? Now it's like, man, this is great. Like, this is fucking great. Like, I'm old, I'm fat, I'm hairy. Like, I'm good, man. But
You're a grandfather too, aren't you?
yeah, I got 3 grandkids, all
Right.
older than my youngest kid.
So you got to first of all, like, this fucks with me more than anything. I have to learn to process shit like I'm also a grandfather, and it's like
Right,
it's a little weird, you know,
right,
because that's another level of old, you know.
dude. All 3 of my grandkids are older than my youngest kid.
Oh God. Oh
So
God.
Mateo is 4, Ellie is 5, Jojo is 7, and Anaya is 11. So all three of my grandkids are years, older than my youngest kid. So it's even harder because, like, I don't think about having grandkids like that. Like, I'm not old. I'm not a grandpa. Like, I'm still having kids. Right. Well, I was. That's not happening ever again. We're done with that. But yeah, no, I dig it, man. I just right now we're at a point where I'm out of options that I know of, right? And it wasn't option. It's not that I discounted all of the possible options. Like, I went through them, and
you know how I know you didn't go through them? You didn't talk to me at all.
Well, I talked to my wife about it. The reason why I didn't talk to you about it is you were dealing with a very wonderful, eventful situation, and adding that to your plate while you were prepping for all of us to be there to enjoy this weekend that we weren't able to make it. And I'll talk to you about how great it had that our daughter called me, Salinas, just to tell me she loved me and that it was okay. Like, bro, I cried. Like, I cried because I knew she was sincere about it. She was. You're gonna screw yourself worse, and I was gonna go anyways, right? Like, I was like, fuck this bitch, like, we're going. This is my brother. He came all the way up here for us. And Lizzie was like, and she said the same thing that you're talking about. Do you want to hurt yourself more? Do you think Sammy wants you to hurt yourself more? Do you think Julie wants you to hurt yourself more? Call them, talk to them. And that's when I had called you and talked to you. So I'm willing to take that option. I just had myself in a corner with this one where I couldn't find any other options. And I talked to Lizzie about it, and Lizzie said the same thing. Like, just don't do the job then. Fuck it. Like, call Mike. Let him know. Tell him you love him. He'll love you too. Right?
Absolutely. It's a non-issue. It's a non-issue. And even if you couldn't have made it for an issue less than this, it would be a non-issue. Because you know why? Like, when you're with friends and family that really love you, there are no expectations. There are hopes and desires. I would hope that you could make it. I would want you to be here.
Yeah.
But I will never measure our worth of our friendship based on your ability, to show up to a party, bro. Like, it just
it wasn't a party, bro.
But
it was a celebration of you and
yes, I wouldn't. Do you see what I'm saying though? Like, we don't have to live and die by that cholo fucking mentality. I would die for you, Holmes. My skin is white on the outside, but it's brown on the inside. You don't need to do that shit. Like, we have to stop living in these extremes. I love, we both have the same level of wanting to be there for others, being there for others, doing what we can, spending our last to do something. Those things aren't going to cost you life or limb. It's when you start doing things that will cost you life and limb, and then you evaluate. So, for example, let's say you re-injured your shoulder. What would be the consequence of that? What would happen?
We talked. Me and the surgeon had talked about it. There's three things that could happen if I re-injure it. I could permanently disable my arm, which is why we went into surgery as soon as we did. Was because I was starting to lose feeling and use of my left hand. I had damaging some nerves and some the tendons. So here's what happened. When the truck ripped my arm out of socket, it ripped it completely out of socket. I tore the upper bicep 90%. I separated the rotator in two pieces, and then I tore the other three tendons that hold my shoulder in place. So they had to repair all of them. With my upper bicep, they had to cut it because it was frayed, and then twist it and then reattach it. So if I re-injure it, it's possible that it's unfixable.
What would that mean if it was unfixable?
Let's go. Limited to total paralysis of my left hand and limited use of my left arm. Worst case scenario. Best case scenario is I go back in and I start over, and it takes another 6 to 9 months to heal. Mid scenario, which is what would probably happen, is I'd lose most of the feeling in my left fingers, and I would have to redo the surgery, and I'd be injured for another 6 to 9 months, maybe a year. The worst case scenario, partial paralysis and permanent damage to my left arm, which is why I went in for surgery, right? Like I was starting to get I couldn't feel for like the last couple weeks before surgery. The nerve was pinched in such a weird way that I couldn't feel my lower fingers. And it was due from how my shoulder was hanging out of its socket, right? Because there was nothing holding my shoulder in, right? Except for my muscle. Like I was keeping my shoulder in by muscle use. So yeah, it's a fucked up situation, man. And
so let me ask you, in hindsight, looking back, bro, right?
I wouldn't have opened the semi hood. I don't know.
But that you're on the right path there, because your problems didn't start with opening the semi hood. They're well before that. This is a well established pattern of behavior. Remember, most folks think that relapse happened at the point of using.
Oh, it's way before that.
Don't forget that the problem exists well before you use again for the first time, right? So it's none of these things are the starting point for what got us here. They're just the details of a problem that developed or existed long before this, right? We have this mentality. It's why we spent so many years in prison, because we're extremists in the way that we approach life and the things we do, and whether they're good or bad commitments, we'll
absolutely
risk it all, right?
And let me add to this, as you're saying that, I absolutely agree with you. I use the same gang mentality logic now that I did then, but now I use it for good, right? Like I'm like, well, I'm fucking sober and I'm fucking clean and I'm fucking a good guy. Like fuck, and I do take that to that extreme.
Let me tell you what this is the equivalent of in other 12 steps. You ever go to a meeting where back in the days, right? Back in the days, I'd go to these meetings, right? And I'd see several things. I'd see people in recovery with a 64-ounce jug of Mountain Dew or death coffee.
Yep.
On the other side of the room, I'd see people with a 10-pound bag of candy. And for those that I couldn't see, it was because the cloud of smoke from all the cigarettes came below face level. So all you could see it was truly anonymous, because you could never see who was sitting across the table from you. This is the same version of that, because what we have done is just transfer the same approach and the same amount of energy from bad to good. But remember, too much of a good thing is just as bad as not enough of a bad thing. Right? That's where I'm saying it's a well-established pattern for us, not just me and you. Good morning. It's a well-established pattern for us to take this approach in life. That's why from the very beginning, when I heard this was going on, when you said I might have pushed it too far, and then you said, I'm like, okay, this is not a new issue. This is, and we both have it. So how are we going to overcome it?
Right.
But to your point is, in hindsight, Monte, regardless of what your fear is around your bills, can you objectively, can you put aside all this logic that you have and use reason? Can you say that in hindsight, the risk you took to finish this job was worth what you just talked about?
No, it never is.
Okay. See, now I can go to bed feeling like, okay, he understands the major point. I get that this is.
Hold on. You go to bed thinking about me?
I do quite often.
Me too, bro.
Quite often. And it's more like, fuck.
What is he doing now? I haven't seen him live in a week. What the fuck is going on with Monte?
What's happening?
Right?
So
yeah, I do get that, and I agree, right? Like, and that's something I struggle with. Like, I'm fighting to figure out what I can do to stop, right? Like, so that I can just enjoy it. Like, I'm 47 years old. 47 years old, man. Like, I get it. I'm not going to make it till 90, right? I'm not going to make it to 80. I'll be really happy to make it to 70, right? Like, no one expected me to live past my 20s, right? The lifestyle that I live. Um, so, and as many times as I have, um, as many times and as many people have tried to stop me from making it to there, right? I feel like I've lived on borrowed time for a long time. Like, stabbed 3 times. I've been shot twice. I've been thrown over a third-story balcony. I shouldn't be here. Um, I'm grateful for every day I get, but I want more, right? I don't ever want to die, Sammy. Like, I'm not afraid of dying. It's going to happen, right? I dig it, but I don't want to. And when I say I don't want to die, a lot of people don't get it. I'm not talking about just for the next couple decades. I don't ever want to die. I want to watch the world and the universe, and I want to see what happens. And I constantly think about that. What's going to happen in 1,000 years? What would the world look like? Like, what's going to happen in 1,000,000 years? Will we be spread across the galaxy like cockroaches? Right? Are we star roaches or what, man? Like, I want to know everything, man. I never want to miss anything. But I don't want to do that from a wheelchair. I don't want to do that from a traction bed. You know what I mean? I don't want to be laid up in some bed with ventilators. And that's the direction my life's going. And I am trying to build other means and venues to support my family that allow me to do that. I'm just at a point where, like, dude, when I tell you what I'm about to tell you, you're not going to believe me. But I'm selling the 300. I got a guy coming over today to pick it up.
Fuck, I'm happy for you.
Right. I know you would be. As many cars as I have at the house. So I sold the 300. I don't have the time, energy, or money to put into building it the way I want to. This guy really wants to build exactly what I wanted to build. Right. We've been talking about it, and his offer is more than fair. And so I'm getting rid of the 300. For those of you who don't know, the 300 is my baby. I get it. I'm getting rid of the non-necessities that I have because I don't need them and don't really want them. I just had them because I wanted stuff, right? Like, I got all this crap that I don't need, and I'm trying to shake that off. I just don't know what to do, to be honest with you. Like, and I come against these walls, right? Or I come against these roadblocks, and instead of taking my time to put pegs in holes and climb over the wall carefully, like, I put a sledgehammer through it. Right? That's what I do. I get shit done.
That's what we all do, man.
Right.
I get it, but if you ask me if I prioritize money or health, you choose, because that's what this becomes about.
Yeah.
Is it money or health? Because sometimes you can't have both.
Yeah.
And if you have, so there's this remember this old, it's a kids movie, it's called 10,000 BC.
Yeah.
Old movie, not a very good movie, but
hey, wait, don't.
I didn't think it was that good. It was more of a kids movie. It wasn't really a grown-up movie, if you ask me. But that's just my opinion. Not the point either. Like a lot of movies, the moral of the story was that a lot of times, and this goes back to some of Amy's comments, a lot of times you got to go out ahead of the pack and do what you need for the pack, and no one around you will agree with your choice, and they even may call you crazy, may call you insane, may call you lost or ignorant or naive or stupid, right? But in that movie, this kid leaves, goes out, does what he has to do. In 300, similar storyline, right?
Mm-hmm.
The governing body thinks you should do this. You have a couple people think you should do that, and no one agrees with you until hindsight. No one understands you until hindsight. And so, in some ways, Monte, this idea that you need to prioritize money over your health is short-sighted, which is what is the issue in a lot of these movies, right? In a lot of the movies, the people, and like in 300, the governing body wanted to bend the knee to this, enslavement force. Not and that would have saved them from the war, but what would it have done
Right.
to your people long term? Right?
I agree.
And if you never leave your camp, leave your people behind, and they think you're abandoning them and they hate you and whatever, that's short term. But when you have long term vision, and this is what you have to move to, long term vision. If you want to live 1,000 years, you have to have 1,000-year vision. You can't continue. You live day by day in your mind. You live day to day. I tend to live, months and years in advance. Like that's just where I'm at in life. But on occasion, I will get very short-sighted vision, right? Whenever we have short-sighted vision, and that's normally when you feel there's a dilemma, that's normally when you feel like there's no other choice, that's short-term vision. That's the shit that normally gets you hurt, injured, dead, or locked up. The long-term vision is when you sit back, you slow down. Now, that's why we signed the treaties. That's a different show. We'll get back to that one day. But Monte, when you make decisions with your stomach, which is like survival, which is what you're talking about, you are risk. You have to just know that naturally is associated with high risk. And so where you have to get better at, especially as you get older as a father and a grandfather, is evaluating risk against the vision, the long-term vision. And right now you're making decisions with your stomach. Now, you know who else makes decisions with their stomachs? Animals that walk on 4 legs. Their minds, their hearts, and their stomach and their assholes are all on the same level. But human beings walk upright. Their mind is first, their hearts are second, their stomach is third, their ass is fourth. So you got to stop walking like a giant ape with all 4 fucking limbs on the floor. Stand upright, you fucking Neanderthal, and start making decisions with your fucking brain.
I'm fucking done with you. Like, I can't stand you. You fucking asshole. Wait till I get some fucking teeth, Sammy.
You gnaw me to death, motherfucker.
God damn it. No,
You see how this works?
Yeah, absolutely.
So whenever you start feeling like your back is against the wall, Monte, your recovery process and common sense to tell you is slow down and consult. You cannot make decisions because you feel like you have no other choice. That's the mindset. As soon as you start to feel that way, you have to know, like, I need to talk to somebody else. And it can't be, listen, Monte, you know this by now better than all of us, man. When you're in crisis, you can let your family know, but you shouldn't be leaning on your family. You should be leaning on people who are outside of that because they can remain objective too. Right? If me and my wife are both starving, we're not going to make the best decisions together. We'll make the ones that are necessary. We might survive it. But usually if you get someone who's not involved in the crisis to help weigh in, there are other things you can see. There are other things you can do. There are other options. Did you know that sometimes the best thing you could do is absolutely nothing?
Nothing.
Right? Like,
I did.
And a lot of times you don't have to make the decision in the moment you do. We do that. Look, you want to hear something country? I embraced my full Southern country yesterday. I went to a livestock auction.
What?
And I bid on some animals.
What? You don't need any more fucking animals. You live in a goddamn zoo, bro.
Dude, I've lost 3 chickens to predators in the last 2 weeks. Like, it's, yeah.
So what? You got like 30 left then? 27 left? What are you talking about? Dude.
We're still learning. Look, let me tell you how this worked yesterday. So
you're going to, just so you know, you're going to continue to lose livestock to predators no matter what you do.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Now, I'm just learning how to protect them in the ways that I can here, right?
Best way you can, yeah.
We wanted to buy some goats. We don't have a fence. We don't have a shelter. We were ready to come home with 2 goats yesterday. And
Were they gonna sleep in the basement?
The only thing that stopped us from doing it,
You got
like
outbid.
we were so anxious like about doing it. And so finally I was just like, we probably just need to go. Like we're about to make a bad decision, you know. And so we left, you know, and it didn't feel the greatest because we have to fight against a want versus we're, you know, being prepared and, you know, imagine trying to bring home a dog, you have no supplies. You know, you gotta have something together. You know, we weren't
Right.
even, but we were like, yeah, but we got caught up in the moment. You know, it was fun, it was exciting. I was raising my little paddle with my number on it, buying shit, you know, and um it's fun. It's fun. And I'm the only person I can promise you that looked like me there. But no
Yeah.
one was
Oh,
rude or mean. It was a very kind, you know. I bought a rooster. I outbid. I felt bad later. I outbid somebody on this what I thought was a chicken, and it was a rooster. And then I gave the rooster back. I'm like, I don't want it. It's a rooster. I was getting a hen,
right.
so they bought it back basically.
Aw.
Now, having said that, and I think we've beaten this horse to death with the right now, I would say the most important thing in your life is family. Okay, not bills. Say it with me. Family, not
Family,
bills.
not bills. I get it.
Okay,
Fucking dick.
let's put family to the side. The next most important thing is health, not money. Health, not money. So far, we've prioritized family and health. A close third, or say 2 point B on it, is money. And I think if you could say, you know, so it's family, health, money, family, health, money, you are need to be making decision not from the money place, but from the health and family place. And I know it can seem like a dilemma and very, very confusing when you think about it in those terms, but will this cause someone harm? Will this cause me harm? Right? And then can I afford to do this? Right? And so yeah, you did what you needed to do to finish that contract, but when you think of your family and your health, I don't think you could afford to do that. You bought something with your energy and effort that you probably shouldn't have bought. It was a bad decision in hindsight from the family and health perspective. But I get the other side of the logic that says, but Sammy, you know, I've got to feed my family and I gave my word and I don't want people to think my word doesn't. But you know what? If all it takes is for you to fail one job to ruin your reputation, I'm going to wonder what you've actually been doing out here. You know,
Right.
you're now cruising in a like an ocean liner of credibility. You're not in a rowboat with holes in it. So your credibility can take some hits right now, not too many and not so often, but occasionally, where people aren't going to think you're the worst person in the world because you injured yourself and need a little more time to finish the job or to figure out how to get it done.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay? You're not a workhorse, bro. You're a human being. You're a dad. You're a grandfather. You're a friend. You're a brother. You're a son.
I thought I was an ape.
That's between me and you. And now all the people that are watching this.
Right. And the general public, they know a little bit, but you
And
know it is.
if you want to get real morbid,
Yeah.
me and you probably have about 20 summers left, bro, if we're lucky.
Yeah.
Make the most of those. You don't want to shorten those.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what's been so great about the last couple months of staying home with the kids, right? Like Tater and I get to talk, we get to bond. He gets to beat me like, you know, I'm a punching bag on a regular basis. But I'm trying to create those memories that when he gets older, he can look back and say, man, like my dad cared. Like my dad wanted, you know, my dad loved me. Um, we had a
And you,
horrible situation over the weekend.
what?
So Alana, her golden birthday was May 9th. 2 days before her birthday, she broke her elbow in two places and was in a cast. Um, we had planned on having her birthday party at Star Roller Rink, which is the old skate town. So we had to postpone it, and we went down there, paid them their $200 deposit, set it up for Friday, just this past Friday, and we rented the whole building. $400. We got 2 hours with a DJ. We had to bring our own food and our own decorations. Cool beans, right? Invited 30 people. Got there at 3:45. No one was there. Like, they weren't open. They were closed. Called the company, and the lady we booked through said, I no longer work with them, but here's their number. And it was her husband, right? She was like, I don't work with the company anymore, but they knew about it. They know about it. Call this number. We called the dude, and he said that his wife never told him they had a job, and there was no deposit paid.
Oh, God.
And it was, a shit situation. So I sent him the receipt, to which he immediately said, I'm so sorry. I'm almost 2 hours away. There's no way for me to come and open it. So now we're at the birthday party, and people are showing up, like her friends, and we're in the parking lot, and they're not there, and we're closed. I had $200 in my pocket, so I could pay them the other half of their deposit, right? And then we had enough money. Topper's Pizza was basically giving us pizza at below cost, because Justin Martin's an amazing human being, and the rest of the guys at the crew. We ended up having to take the kids to Chuck E. Cheese. Now, I was unaware of the cost of going to Chuck E. Cheese until I got there, and it was $327 just for the passes so that they could play games. Not to mention, we could not bring in our own food. Although the manager there, let me say something about the manager there. She cleared a whole section, made it just for our party, even though we didn't have a party booked there. Let us put our own decorations up, took our cake, our ice cream cake, put it in the freezer and set it all up, and made sure we had our own area, right? Just like a real birthday party would have been there, right? So thank you for her. I appreciate it, Paula. We love you. You did everything you could to make it amazing, including getting us in there with a dozen kids, right? So $327 later, right? I have enough passes to give each of the kid an hour of unlimited play, right? Go play, hour long. Now I have $32 to my name, and I got to buy food for a dozen kids, right? Because we're at fucking Chuck E. Cheese, bro. Like, and 2 pizzas and 4 sodas is $51. 2 pizzas, 4 sodas, $51. I need 12 sodas, because we got 12 kids there, right? That's $180. Basically $200 more. I got 30 some dollars to my name. I made a call, and a wonderful human being showed up at the door and bought the food, and then hugged me and told me he loved me and said, I'll talk to you in a little while. And then we had our party. I still got to get the money back. Dude, it was so horrible over the weekend. I came home with like $13 left to my name. But you know what was great, bro? Alana at no point had a bad birthday, right? Like, she wasn't going to remember this weekend as the weekend that she almost had a party, right? They love Chuck E. Cheese. They had a great time. I don't care how much money I had left over. I don't care how much money I went in the hole, right? Like, it didn't faze her at all. She was like, and her words were, Monty took care of it. I'm done. Mm-hmm. But all right, you guys, we love you guys. Lana had amazing time. You're right, Jess. Right, and there's another one right there, Jessica, who I agree, Amy, but this was something we had set up before. This was like last year we had set this up, but you're right. Jess immediately pulled out the only pay she had for the week and kicked it in and was like, put this towards the party. Here's $80, right? Like, we all pitched in. Her parents showed up and they were like, what do you need? You're like, I'll buy this. And then John Sidoti showed up and he was like, "Man, these kids ain't going without a party. What's wrong with you?" Like, I dig it, man. I dig the fact that I have a huge surround. Amy's the same. I like Amy. You know what John said? It's only green paper.
If money is your worst problem, you're blessed. You're truly
I
blessed.
agree.
You know?
I agree. All right, you guys, we love you. Thanks for watching me get schooled by Sammy today. Fuck you, douchebag.
Once again.
Right there, homie. Take the hat off, SA. You don't want everybody.
Oh, look at that mess.
How much grease did you put in that motherfucking thing?
Look. It's horrible. Look.
There.
Look. Let me do this right here.
Look, I got the little
I got
Elvis
a
curl
toupee.
going on.
I got a toupee on.
I got the little Elvis curl coming out.
Dude, if you came at me and you looked like that and you were trying to like be all hard, I would just
What's up,
be like,
homie?
Look at you trying to be cute. Stop. You stop
it. Hey, hold on. Hey, this is the one that they hate the worst is when I do this one.
Bro, you don't have any fucking teeth in your mouth. It's fucking nuts. Don't even try to yell at the kids looking like that. It's not gonna work.
Hey, it's the Andre the Giant.
Dude. No, I don't. It's the Harry Potter giant dude.
Oh, Hagrid.
With the fucking hair. Love you guys. Love you, Amy.
Love you guys. Love you, Amy.
I'm heavy shit. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I get it. So
yeah,
when I look
of
like
all the people to be afraid of, she's the one.
She's been yelling at you the whole fucking call.
Yeah, I know.
You better listen.
I know.
Better listen.
We just went through this conversation 2 weeks ago, so
it's just gonna get real, man. I'm telling you right now.
I know it. All right, we love you guys. We will see you next Sunday.
Peace out,
until then, peace. I hope you guys have a wonderful week.